To speak more on care and support required for unaccompanied minors, we're joined this evening by Director of Programs at Save the Children, Megan Briede. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on Late Edition. Now, the BMA and the Department of Home Affairs revealed today that the number of unaccompanied minors intercepted in various parts of the country is on the rise. Do we know why?
Factors that would indicate why. Usually, of course, economics is the biggest driver. So when there's economic instability in our neighboring countries, this will lead children to coming to South Africa. The perception that there's a better future, so access to education, and a very important aspect is issues of climate change. So where we are seeing increased flooding or droughts, these exacerbate poverty and, of course, drive people towards looking for better options. We're seeing adults very often coming into the country ahead of their children, and then children being sent on later without realizing the dangers to their children when they are crossing without their adult parent with them.
Your organisation and others offer shelter for such minors, if you like. Now, how does the initial processing work? And what services are offered to these minors, including but not limited to education and ensuring that they are returned to their birth countries or integrated into society?
So South Africa, through our Children's Act, we are fortunate to have a very strong legislation. So any child coming into our country, the premise that you're working from is the need to protect the child and secure their safety. Children are not looked at from an immigration status, they looked at from a child protection status. So any minors will immediately be escalated to the Department of Social Development or designated child protection organizations, and then a children's court inquiry opened with a full investigation to determine what is in the best interest of this child. Is it a child that needs to remain within country because there may be more instability or threats to the child if they return? Sometimes we're unable to track or trace family members, particularly for younger children who are unable to give us the necessary information. So that's your start. A children's court inquiry would be opened. There are several temporary safe places for children. Organizations like ourselves, though, will have what we call cultural mediators. These are people working within and at community level who can speak several languages, particularly, for example, in Mozambique, people can speak Portuguese. So as people come into the country, if a child is identified, we have somebody who can engage and communicate and then work out what would the best plan of action be for that particular child.
What regions do unaccompanied minors usually come from, mostly?
At the moment in South Africa, I would think that our largest influx would come from Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Very recently, I think Mozambique has been showing a lot more children coming into the country. And I think that can be linked to, like I said, the economic instability, but also the major threats that are happening with regards to climate.
What do NGOs and caregivers provide for these children?
Well, we're very fortunate to have some strong, what we call temporary safe care in the country, not through Save the Children South Africa. We do more the community level response, so the people on the ground identifying children. Our Department of Social Development does provide shelters. They are very active in working with us as Save the Children on what we call the cross-border meetings, where our government, Save the Children as a representative of the NGO sector, and for example, the government of Zimbabwe or Mozambique will meet quarterly to work through cases of children who have come into the country and try and resolve this together.
Can the public help in any way, and how?
Definitely. I think, organisations such as ourselves, the Save the Children, cannot function without donor support. We need individual donations. Monthly individual giving seriously helps us to do the work that needs to be done, but also to identify within your community the temporary centres, child and youth care centres, where children are being housed. If you're not able to give donations, you can always look at donations in kind, clothing, food, into these areas. And I think most importantly, it's about a giving spirit and really understanding that it doesn't matter where these children come from. They are children and they deserve and need our protection.
Thank you so much for chatting to us this evening. And that was the Director of Programs at Save the Children, Briede.